What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Matt and Vin. We have a Premier League Match Day 1 video coming, but before we get into that, I need to remind everyone, please like, comment, and subscribe on this video to help us out. Also, we are now on Spotify, so
We're live.
go check us out on Spotify. Give us a follow. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dad, and either listen to us there or listen to it here if you got YouTube Premium or you want to check out the video, whatever. So yeah, we're gonna get into match day 1. You want to go through some of these games, Vin? Tell us who won. Tell us who lost.
Well, first I want to say it's good to be back. I was feeling lost for a little bit. It's good that the Premier League is back, and we are back in full flight, guys.
I'm so happy that it's back, dude. I was just so happy today, all day long.
We got Everton in last, Chelsea's in 17th, Brighton's in first, Leicester's in 10th, Spurs are still Spurs, refs are dropping red cards, and we already have an apology from the refs. What better way to start the Premier League?
Yeah, the Prem is back in full swing, that's for sure.
We're picking up right where we left off. Anything goes. Anything goes. I feel like overall it was pretty decent football straight across the board for most games. Nothing too crazy stuck out, but I'll leave the floor to you first to start out. I figured we might as well, real quick, see anything going on in the Man U game you wanted to cover.
I just want to touch one thing you said. This Premier League opening weekend was not out of the ordinary. It was so normal. All the teams won that you thought were going to win. All the teams lost that you thought were going to lose, pretty much. I mean, there was a couple crazy things, but realistically, it's not that crazy. It's the Premier League, and we deal with this bullshit every single week. So yeah, first game, though, Manchester United versus Fulham. And I actually watched this game from start to finish because I was so excited. I did not miss a single second. And I have to say that I was wrong. Manchester United looked a lot better this week than they did the previous week. I'm not totally bought in on Man U yet, but they looked better than I expected. I really think they do need that number 9. When they did bring Xerxes in, I feel like it changed their whole dynamic and, filled a massive void in their squad. They were making Bruno Fernandes play striker, and he was having to go everywhere. He was center defensive mid, center mid, left wing, striker, center forward. He was all over the place. And when Xerxes came in, it was, it actually let him play central mid and dictate the game. And he's the one who started the play that won them the game. He won the ball on the left-hand side. He beat some guy down the line. It was actually pretty awesome to watch. But then he didn't have to do it all. He made a pass. I believe it was to Xerxes, actually. He made a pass to Xerxes. Xerxes passed it out to the side. And then he starts making that run. Now, one thing I'll say is he needs to make the run quicker. He's young still, so obviously he will grow. He has that time to get better. But, man, he could be so insane if he just upped his attacking work rate a little bit, where when he made that pass, he was just on the ball. He was jogging at some points where he probably should have been running, but that was just my observation. Other than that, they look pretty good. I don't know if they're ready for Man City yet, or Liverpool, or Arsenal, but they look better than Chelsea. Let's say that.
Yeah, pretty much seemed like a pretty decent game. I tuned into the TalkSport radio broadcast. I was in the car, so I was listening to it. I didn't get to watch it, but things seemed to change when Xerxes came in. And I know off camera, the other day, me and you were having a discussion about it. Me personally, I like Xerxes. I think he's going to be 15 goal contributions this year, spread across goals and assists. I think that he is going to be the piece that I think Man United was missing. You pretty much covered everything in the Man U game. The only thing that definitely did stick out to me was what was with Rashford at the end. I mean, I know the guy is not Benzema. The guy is not a clinical finisher, but at one point you were heralded as one of the best players in the world. You're 2-on-1 with the keeper. Yeah, Garnacho's right there, and you could pass him the ball. But A, the pass wasn't even on target. A little behind him, a little slow. And B, I mean, it's late in the game. It's like the 80-something minute, almost the 90th minute. Just try to slot it past. I was very mind blown. And even the Talk Sport announcers were like, why did he just pass the ball?
Yeah, the announcers in the game were like, what was
on
that?
the TV broadcast.
Yeah.
To me, it just looked like a guy who has zero confidence already to start the season. Now I know it's early, so I'm not saying that he's downtrodden, but he just showed that he might not have that confidence. I don't know if it's lingering from a bunch of misses at the FA Cup, but I would be a little concerned about that if I was a Man U fan. I know Rashford's probably going to get through it. He's going to be fine. But that was a weird decision to make at a weird time with an outcome of them missing the goal. That would have sealed the game. The Talk Sport guy was like, thank God, man, you won, or Rashford would have never heard the end of that.
Yeah, well, we talked about it in our predictions video where Rashford is like the confidence player. And when he has confidence, he is one of the best players in the world. And when he doesn't have confidence, he's just a mediocre left wing in the Premier League. And that's honestly, he didn't look like a mediocre left wing, but he didn't look like Marcus Rashford. Still doesn't. Because, he doesn't, like you said, he looks like he's playing without confidence. In that moment, if Rashford is playing with confidence, he slots that all day long.
100%.
He slots that. And Garnacho thought he was going to slot it.
I think that's why it was either.
They thought he was going to slot it.
They made it seem like the pass was kind of off, and I didn't watch the highlights since I did listen to the game, but maybe it was Garnacho was like, whoa, why did that ball just come to me? You know what I mean? Where he wasn't fully prepared for it, but it was just a weird decision in my mind.
It was definitely a little bit behind him, but if Garnacho knew that it was going to come, he would have slotted that all day long. It's just, he assumed, like, this is our best player, Marcus Rashford. He's free one-on-one with the keeper. He's going to score this goal. And that's how Garnacho plays these days. I mean, he looks great. So he assumed that's how Rashford was going to play, and he just wasn't ready for it.
No. And you know what? I mean, Fulham played a pretty decent game. Emile Smith-Rowe had, 60, 70 minutes. The substitute of Traore was a little weird, but early season.
Traore probably had the best first 30 minutes of the game out of anyone on the pitch. That dude was destroying down the left-hand side. I mean, constantly was beating his man, and I really thought Fulham was going to go up early in the game, but they ended up holding them off, and Fulham really fell off after that.
Well, Fulham had some chances they missed. They had a 3-on-2, a 2-on-1, and they just couldn't seem to finish and hit the target. So, I mean, good on them. They put on a performance. I think they still have to knock the dust off. I don't think this has raised the alarm bell by any means. I think Fulham will be all right. So, that was the Man U game. I think it was pretty status quo. Nothing really to harp on that game as well. So, I don't know where you want to go next.
Hit me with anything.
With one game I did want to bring up real quick, just because I had the prediction that Brentford was going to drop off. So I wanted to touch on that game that, I had them getting relegated. They won without Ivan Toney ever stepping on the field.
Yeah.
Now, that was a decision that they said the coach made. They talked to the coach. He's even under the assumption that Toney is not going to be there. So he's doing like a Luis Enrique, where he was like, let's get life without Mbappe ready. It seems like his thing is going to be, let's get life without Ivan Toney ready. We can't rely on him. So I thought that was interesting. Brentford pulled it out, so they're making me eat my words already. I think that game was an interesting game. What did you think about Toney not making an appearance?
Yeah, so when I initially saw the score, I was like, oh, Ivan Toney must have played. And then I watched the highlights and was like, wow, okay, I guess they don't need Ivan Toney. But, I told you, I really feel like Thomas Frank is underrated. That dude knows how to bring a team together. He's kept this team in the Prem for the last couple of years. I feel like he's helped turn Ivan Toney into the player he is today. So I still have faith in them. I wasn't too surprised to see them win 2-1, but I was surprised to see that Toney wasn't even on the bench.
Yeah, so that was a weird call. And the other big thing about this game is the Elise free kick. Elise, for anyone that didn't watch, Elise buries one into the bottom corner on a free kick, but the ref blew the whistle nearly immediately for
That's the Prem, right, Vin?
players.
That's just
For
what we deal
players,
with in the
I
Prem.
guess, bumping into each other, tripping. There was like tripping involved, obstruction, I guess you could say. Um, and I guess how it works is the call cannot go to VAR because technically the ref blew the whistle before the free kick finalized and went into the goal. So it wasn't like a goal, VAR check, goal stands. It was dead ball foul for obstruction. Now the argument's being made, well, how could it be obstruction when it was a shot on goal? It wasn't
Right.
a cross, and the player got obstructed while trying to get to the cross. So that ended with our first apology of probably many by referees already. The referee himself made the apology. It wasn't even hidden behind, the referee association or what have you. He came out and said that he admits he blew the whistle too early and probably should have let it materialize before making that decision. And he apologized. So match week 1, first apology. It's how it goes in the Premier League.
There you go. And it wasn't the first referee mistake either, which let's get to next. Why not? You and I reacted live to the Newcastle game on Saturday.
Oh my.
I hope some of you tuned in. Vinny was going off. Not gonna lie,
I almost lost my mind.
I let him just have his time most of it. But how about that red card, Vinny? It was typical Premier League red card.
I've had time to settle down. By the law, how it's written, I guess, yeah, technically it was a red card.
It's not a red card.
Slow motion does something like that. No justice. It made it look way worse. Brereton Diaz is a cheater. He should have also got a red card because that was some of the worst simulation that I've ever seen. I think that we're 15 minutes, 12 minutes into match week 1. 2 players touch foreheads. I think it was a little egregious to give a red card, but good on the Tunes, good on the lads. They pulled out the win down 10 men for 70 minutes. I think that's a good sign for our season. It sucks that I think we're down Shar for 2 or 3 games. That's brutal, especially when we're literally trying to sign center backs. We don't have a real replacement. Lloyd Kelly got to come in because of it. He had a good game.
Yeah.
Joelinton back off to a great start. Assist from Isak. The game ended fine. Eddie Howe seems very sharp. He made his adjustments. He took off Murphy, put on a center back, tightened everything up when we went down a man, and it didn't stop us from being able to attack. We still got the goal. So the red card to me was egregious. That was insane. Brereton Diaz should get some kind of fine.
I don't know anyone who thought that was actually a red card.
Well, the ref did, obviously. The ref did. And good on St. James fans, the fans out there. You guys let Brereton Diaz hear it for the whole game. Every time that guy touched the ball. I love that. That. So that could have been very bad. That could have been very bad. So good on the boys for pulling it out. But yeah, that red card is just too much. That's OD.
For sure. Just to touch on it, Southampton actually, I think they played a pretty decent game. They were outmatched for sure at St. James's Park. And yeah, they did play against 10 men for most of the game and they couldn't score. But I really feel like they had some good passages of play. Because you were like, it's not like your defense was hurt. You put another center back in and you played your full defense. You took someone out of like midfield or whatever, right?
Yeah,
one of your attackers.
Right.
So you took out a forward. So it's not like, your defense was affected and Southampton still had some good passages of play. And almost scored a couple of them. But obviously you guys won, so
yeah,
not surprised.
God, but it's funny because we could segue directly into the Spurs-Leicester game off of this. Talking about a team that finishes top 6 playing a relegation side, goes right into the Spurs game. Spurs are still Spurs. I mean, my God, you're up the whole entire game and then, you drop points to Leicester. That's a bad look. So the reason I said it's a perfect segue is because the guys on the Talk Sport were talking about it. One's a Tottenham fan, one's a Chelsea fan, Jamie and some other guy. And the Tottenham fan was like, oh, well, this is the time where a newly promoted side would get a win against a big club, week 1.
Yeah.
And the Chelsea fan leans in and goes, bro, Newcastle beat Southampton down a man. What excuse are you possibly making for tying with Leicester?
Leicester, who lost their
Jamie
coach
Vardy,
and best player.
old man Jamie Vardy is tied for league leading score. Let's just throw that out there. Fine line. The guy never leaves. The guy never goes away.
Yeah.
That's a bad start for the Spurs. Post game, Pasagoglu did not sound like himself. I'm not raising any alarms for Tottenham right now, but you better have a good recovery game after this and rebound quickly because that's not a good look.
Yeah, I do agree pretty much with everything you said. The one thing I'll add is I think if they can figure it out, they're still super scary. Like the team that they put out looked good. It's just they couldn't put it together and actually get a finish. They had a lot of crosses into the box that, someone barely got a touch on it or something. I mean, if they just finish another one or two of those, that game looks completely different, obviously.
Yeah, but you know what? I wanted to ask you something, not to cut you off, but like last year, it seemed like at times Tottenham didn't have that killer mentality to finish a game. A lot of their games ended close. A lot of their games were them dropping points at the end.
Tottenham.
Is that still? Do you think that's still like? Is it really ingrained in them? Do you think that's a coaching flaw? Why can't they kill off an opponent, especially one who's Leicester? Not taking anything away from Leicester, but like you should.
It's
be able
more
to
of a
kill them
North
off.
London thing, Vinny. Let's think about this. It's more of a North London thing. If you're from North London, you can't finish. You can't finish shit. You bottle the Premier League. You bottle Champions Leagues. That's just a North London thing. Arsenal can't win the Prem.
Look, you want to go to the next level, you have to be able to kill off people. I probably shouldn't say that, but you should be able to finish your opponents off very quickly. I mean, Poro scored in what, like the 30th minute? Dom Solanke
had 20 second.
Dude, yeah, Dom Solanke had a bunch of half chances. You can't blame the guy. They weren't real amazing chances. They were half chances at best, maybe even quarter chances. But
just give that dude time. He's gonna be scary.
Finish them off.
He's gonna be scary. I know. Yeah, you're right. But I'm telling you, if you just give that dude some time in that system, and if Postecoglou can keep his head and keep the players' heads together, Dominic Solanke will be the glue that pulls that team together and makes it stick, I think.
Well, we could.
I could be really wrong, obviously.
No, but I think it'll all be fine for them as well. Now, I want to save Man City and Chelsea. I mean, you got most of your anger out already, but I want to save that one just to touch on that one.
We'll do that last
at the end here. But two other games I did want to touch on. The Brighton 3-0. I know they're only playing Everton. Everton was down a man, but are they back?
Yeah, I mean,
they
looked really good, and they're the only team that scored 3 this weekend. Everyone else scored 2 or less.
That's why they're in
first. I think they could be back, yeah. I mean, they did play Everton, so we need to see what they look like against some other teams. And again, Everton did play a man down. But, yeah, Brighton could be scary.
Shout out on that Brighton game to Minte, the Newcastle boy. Well, he's not really a Newcastle boy, but we had to sell him because of PSR. He started.
Yeah, I think Matoma's scary, too.
Matoma is scary. I don't know. I just pulled it up. I'm looking at them. I mean, they had Danny Welbeck, Minte, Matoma, Pedro, Milner.
They have a good squad. They just, they need to stay healthy. That's everyone's problem.
Good performance by them. Everton, I mean, Evertonians, you guys are in for
not a good performance by Everton.
I think you guys are in for a very, very long season. Outside of that, I don't really think there was much really to talk about. That game pretty much was.
I believe they were home too, so like that, I'm sure their fans were not too thrilled about that.
Look, not even to go backwards on this, but you want to talk about finishing off an opponent 3-0. That's how you finish them off.
Sure. Yeah, you're right.
An opponent you should beat. Spurs should take notes from Brighton.
All right, let's not spend too much time. Let's hit Arsenal and Wolves here. I actually watched some of that game while the Newcastle game was going on, and I mean, Arsenal looked pretty good. I think they should be looking a little better, but I don't know, they didn't play that bad. Kai Havertz looked good. I have to say that. He probably should have had 2.
He's off the mark. early, way earlier
Yeah,
than usual.
Saka looks good.
How's his
Obviously,
knee?
he was
Any
fine.
reports on his injury? He
Yeah,
was
no,
okay.
I watched that. He took a shot and then dropped to the ground and grabbed his knee, and I was like, oh no. And then like 10 minutes later, he was running down the field and he ended up scoring a goal. So I think he was perfectly fine at the end of the game.
It's good because that would definitely would have been scary when you said that to me when he went down. I was like, oh, well, that could be bad.
Yeah. Wolves. I'll be totally honest. I didn't pay too much attention to Wolves, but they didn't score obviously, and they lost. So I don't think they played very well. Moving on to Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth. You want to talk about that?
I mean, I don't know. I didn't really pay too much attention to this game, but I do believe that Chris Wood scored. So another Newcastle boy, well, ex-Newcastle guy.
Chris Wood did score, yes. Yeah, Bournemouth
one
scored in
more-
the 86th. So Nottingham Forest, I feel like that's their problem, right? Like I told you, I think they're going to get relegated because of stuff like this, where they just, like you're saying, they can't finish things. They can't finish the game off. They let it slip.
The difference is Bournemouth should have been the one finishing off Nottingham.
You're
I don't
right.
think that Nottingham should have been the one finishing off Bournemouth. So I think a draw for them is a good way to start the season for sure, in my opinion.
For Nottingham, yeah, I mean it's not too bad, but when you're up 1-0, you lost those 2 points. They took them from you. That feels bad.
No, 100% could agree with
I mean,
that.
they had 8 shots on target. They had more possession, more passes. So I don't know. I feel like they need to finish those games off. People say like Nottingham Forest is supposed to be one of the bigger clubs in England. They're supposed to be a Premier League club. Like to me, they haven't looked like one, and they did not look like one this weekend either. But Bournemouth didn't look too much better either. I mean, they almost lost. That's another thing. So obviously, it's the first week. We all know things are going to look different 2 weeks, a month, 2 months from now. But yeah, I have no idea what's going to happen with either of these teams so far.
Well, before we get into Man City here, Arnie Slot.
Hold on, we're missing one. We're missing one.
Yeah, Liverpool. That's what I was just talking about.
No. We're missing another one too. We forgot about the other one, the West Ham Villa game.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, that game was actually, I watched a lot of that game. I don't know how I feel about the whole penalty thing. Onana off the mark right away, 3 minutes into his debut, scores a beautiful header. I mean, that was like show
the keeper
your
should have
kids.
saved that though. I just actually watched the highlights of it today.
Keeper should have came out,
and it was 3 feet in front of his face. But
keeper should have came out. They said that, but also Onana's run, I don't know, like he was towards the top of the box and he came flying in.
Yeah,
and he met that ball perfectly.
Antonio was covering him and he just ran right away from him. So it was a good run.
Good on him to come off to a fast start. I think West Ham is fine. They put up a really good fight against a really good Aston Villa team, so that game was pretty good. It doesn't change. I had and for those of you that watched, I have West Ham finishing in the top 6. Even after watching that game, I still definitely I feel better about that prediction after watching that game.
It
to
looked
even
like
go toe to toe with Aston Villa, to me, was a massive game.
I was gonna say it looked like 2 top teams going at it. It didn't look like West Ham Villa from a couple of years ago. Obviously, like this could be a different West Ham and a different Villa, going forward. Obviously, we saw a different Villa last season, but I'm saying going forward into the Prem in the future, these clubs could really change. They could take Chelsea's spot. Who knows?
Paqueta with a very suspicious yellow card. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that, but okay, so real quick, Liverpool Ipswich.
Arnie Slot, first game, first win. Little shaky in the beginning. I have to say props to Ipswich because for the first 45 minutes I was like, yo, are they about to get a draw?
Yeah.
Are they about to start the season off with a draw? For real. That would have been amazing. But then Liverpool turned into Liverpool in the second half and just buries 2. Mo Salah got one, and I don't even remember who scored the first one.
I remember coming out of halftime, I was like, Liverpool's going to win this 2-0. Remember that?
That is exactly what you said, and then they buried two.
It was Diogo Jota who scored the first one, and then Mo Salah scored the second one.
Did you find it very weird that Darwin Núñez did not come off the bench at all?
No, because Diogo Jota's better than him.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, really, as in, do you think that this is going to be Darwin Núñez's season of just always being the backup, always coming off the bench, maybe missing games? I mean, he's a confidence player too. It's not going to bode well for him if he's constantly on the bench.
Yeah, I think who Cody Akpo came in for him towards the end.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that's probably something that Arne Slot's seen in training and in videos. I think Darwin Núñez is like, he has a problem finishing. You know, he's like a hit or miss. You know, he could have a really good game or he could miss 3 sitters. You know? He reminds me of like Nicholas Jackson, but a little better. It's literally what he reminds me of. Cody Akpo, I don't know if Cody Akpo is better than him, but he's probably more consistent. I feel like maybe that's what I'm trying to say. Darwin Núñez is so inconsistent, you know, and you know what you're going to get with Diogo Jota. That guy's disgusting. I think he's underrated. I mean, he's really good, and I still think he's underrated. So yeah, maybe Darwin Núñez is the third man. I don't know. Ipswich did look good, though. First 10, 15 minutes, I was with you there. I was like, wow, they might get one here. They looked really good. But Liverpool took over. They looked like Liverpool in that second half. Mo Salah, I made a spicy prediction saying that Mo Salah's getting older. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. That dude looked insane. He looked
he did.
Just as good as ever. So I think I'm just a fucking idiot and I don't know what I'm talking about. So we only have one more game to talk about here, Vinny.
Don't worry, everyone. I made sure he got his anger out before we started recording.
I'm not going to go on a tangent today. Because realistically, remember, I was like, what are we going to lose 6-0? You know, I don't know if anyone thought Chelsea was going to win this game, because I didn't. That sucks to say, but I didn't think they were going to win. Maybe they were going to draw, but I didn't have much faith, you know. I figured Man City was going to win this game. Especially because we have no idea we still have no idea what we're going to see with Chelsea day to day. I mean, we just signed João Felix today. We're probably going to offload Raheem Sterling now. So, things are still changing day to day.
Is João Felix going to be your goalie?
He might. We need an 8th one, so. He might. Or maybe he's going to get a CDL and drive the bus for us like Richie Howe.
Richie, I got to be 100% honest with you, man. That game was boring, even for Man City standards.
It was Man City versus Man City Junior.
Yeah, this Maresca, kind of possession, kind of counterattack. You know, we were talking earlier, it's the 93rd minute in stoppage time. You're passing the ball backwards when you need 2 goals. Some of your possession spells looked decent, but I felt like it was a lot of sideways passing and you weren't really threatening Man City in any way. Cole Palmer at times kind of looked like he was just isolated on an island, didn't really have any support. Nicholas Jackson's basically imitating Lukaku and was just standing off sides when he scored his goal. Hello, you're a professional. Be onside. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Only good thing that I saw from you guys was I thought Nkunku looked insane at times. I think you need to feed him more. And go and play through him.
I think the only problem with Nkunku is we're forcing him to play out of position. If we could let him play in the center as more of a number 10 role, center forward, center attacking mid role, he would play even better. But I've been hearing a lot of people over the summer saying that he could be our next Hazard. You know, he's that good. We see glimpses of Hazard and Nkunku the way he plays. But now he has to compete with João Felix because obviously João Felix is going to expect to start. Pedro Neto is going to expect to start. These guys need to fight for their position now. Raheem Sterling, I'd say he's probably going to get sold, but what if he doesn't? What if he stays? He's got 3 more years on his deal. He's making $300,000 a week. I'd rather just sit the bench and make $300,000 a week.
Well, it's funny in his camp's statement, they put in there, they're like, we're still under contract for 3 years, almost as like a jab to be like, you guys want to mess around? We'll sit here for 3 years and make tons of money. So what are you doing with me?
Right. So it's also like, why would you want to leave when they're going to pay you half of what Chelsea paid you? You know?
So
you're going to take a pay cut
he wants to play. Obviously he wants to play. He's a baller, but I was laughing a little bit, like snarking when that release came out and I saw that in there. I was like, oh, they really did just throw that in there as like, hey, by the way, you guys are stuck with me for a while.
Yeah, it's true.
For sure. Other than that, I really didn't see anything. I mean, Robert Sanchez had 1 save.
Yeah, I gotta be 100% he looked okay. I have to say, Robert Sanchez looked okay.
That 1 save he made it just reminded me of Tim Howard in the World Cup. He made it look really good, and it was just so unnecessary. The ball was never going in. It was also right at him, so I don't know why he jumped and like palmed it over sideways. Even the announcer was like, that was a Hollywood save. That was unnecessary. It looked cool. It looked great for the cameras, but then when they played it back in slow motion, they were like, what is he doing?
Yeah, I have no idea. We brought in this guy Jorgensen. He's supposed to be the new starting keeper, but Robert Sanchez has been starting ever since he came in. So maybe he looks better in training. I have no idea. I think it's because Robert Sanchez is better with the ball at his feet, which is scary because he's not very good with the ball at his feet. Yeah, I don't know. Other than that, I don't have too much to say about Chelsea. I texted you today and said I feel like I'm in January of last season. We're in 10th place. We're in the middle of a season where we have no idea what's going on. We have no idea who's supposed to be playing. We have no idea where they're supposed to be playing. The only thing that we know is we have one. I mean, yeah, and Cuckoo's really good, but we have one insane world-class player, and that's Cole Palmer. And, you know, Cole Palmer needs to be able to play like Cole Palmer, and in this system, he's limited. So we need to give him some more freedom, and I don't know. I could sit here and say there's answers, but there's no answers. We're going to finish 11th. Whatever.
Maybe. And then,
hold on. One last thing. At least we're above the relegation zone.
There you go. That's what matters. That's your goal, not to be relegated.
Yep. 17th, baby.
And then on the other side of things, I mean, Man City just looked like Man City. I wasn't really impressed. Doku looked really good at times. Savinho looked also really insane at times.
Yeah.
Man City. And I have to say, Pep's post-match interview was like one of the most uninspired. Didn't seem like he gave 2 shits. I don't know if you heard it, but it was just like monotone. And he was just like, I like our players. We got good players. We have 70 games to go, so we'll see. I'm like, this guy doesn't even seem like he cares.
Just one of 70.
Like, so it plays on to, the only reason I brought it up is because it plays on to when we were talking about with our predictions, what's the motivation? It doesn't even seem like the coach was motivated. I was watching the game. Pep was sitting down 90% of the game.
Well, you know, now that he won the Community Shield, Vinny, there's technically no silverware he doesn't have in England. That was the last piece. He won the Community Shield, and he's like, yeah, we're done.
It just seemed uninspired, but Man City's a machine. So I think I don't even think Pep needs to be there, and they're still going to just win. Kevin De Bruyne was back in full swing. He looked
like Kevin De Bruyne. He looked I remember we were just talking 2 weeks ago, he's going to leave. And now it's like, oh, there's no way he's leaving.
The only other
After watching that one game, there's zero chance he leaves.
The only other standout to me in that game, actually the only performance that really sparked anything in me, Kovacic. Yeah. He had that nice goal, and it was a beautiful run. I don't know if you watched it. Maybe you were already turned your head away by then.
I watched that goal, unfortunately.
But
I did watch the goal.
I don't know what the heck Chelsea defenders were doing. It seemed like nobody wanted to step at him, but that was a goal, and that guy was playing very good all game long. So I'm gonna keep my eye on Kovacic. I know he's great.
Yeah, he
but,
was
like,
that good when he was on
that
Chelsea
cool.
too, but we sold him so we could get Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo, you know? Really worked
And
out
those were
well
two
for
people
us.
who did not look good at all. I
Yeah.
mean, dude, half the time I forget Caicedo's even on your team when I'm looking at him on the field.
Yeah, I have no words. We played 3 center defensive mids as our central midfielders. There was no true like number 8. It was just all 6s.
Yeah, it's so yeah, I mean that
I
pretty
don't know.
much
I
wraps.
guess Enzo Fernandez is an 8, but yeah, no. We played 3 center defensive mids.
Yeah, and that's pretty much week 1. So we're off to a great start.
Yeah, I'm depressed. I'm going to cry myself to sleep tonight.
You'll be more depressed pretty soon.
Dude, we play, I don't even know what their name is again, but we play some Swiss team on Thursday, and we're going to win. Chelsea on the come up. Tune in.
You're gonna use a
Conference League, baby.
You're gonna use 11 totally different players.
Yeah, why wouldn't we? I know that's a joke, but actually, why wouldn't we? We have to play 4 games in 2 weeks, first week of the season. Nobody needs to get hurt. Let Nkunku play striker. Let mix
Sterling
everyone up.
play.
Yeah, let Sterling play. Let him play. Let him play. Put in Jorgensen. There needs to be 8 new players on the field. The only 3 players that play are Nkunku, I don't know, Enzo Fernandez, because he was our captain. He was which just blew my mind, by the way. Enzo Fernandez was our captain after what happened this summer.
Chelsea, champions of public relations.
Oh my God. So yeah, Enzo Fernandez, Nkunku, and Cole Palmer, and then put 8 new players in.
I could be behind that.
It is what it is. I don't care. We're gonna finish 17th. All right. Well, now that I'm depressed again, everyone have a good day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on Spotify. Give us a follow. Tell your friends. Tell your mom. Tell your dad. Tell your dog. Your dog fucking loves us. He already told me. All right. So make sure you tell him where to find us so he can watch our fucking videos. All right. I love you guys.
Tell the 14th string Chelsea goalkeeper.
All right. We're out of here. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. Peace out, homies.